first and foremostly, is the geocentric flat Earth, which is here. Can you see that? Yeah, okay. Now what he's saying is that above here we have Moon, the orbit of the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, then the eighth sphere, which is the starry firmament, then the crystalline sea, which is the waters above the firmament. That's why we see a blue sky, because of the hydrogen that's up there. Then the primum mobile. Which is the first motion, the 10th sphere. This is the ninth heaven. It's a watery, and Neptune is the planet in there. We, in Western tropical astrology, geocentric, we use Pluto. Pluto is here. Pluto is the Kuiper belt. This is the Kuiper belt, the primum mobile, what they call the Kuiper belt. And it's the dome. Okay, this is the dome. It's not the same as the firmament. Here is the world we live in, guys. The world is divided into two parts. Ptolemy, this is who supposedly Copernicus, in his hypothesis of revolving Earth, hypothesis, never been upgraded. This is who supposedly he debunked, okay? This is the biblical model of the universe. This is exactly the same as the Bible model, which I will read, which I will show, concurs with the Ptolemaic geocentric model. Here it comes. The world is divided into two parts, the elemental region and the ethereal. The elemental region is constantly subject to alteration and comprises the four elements, earth, water, fire, and air. See my presentations. The ethereal region, which philosophers call the fifth essence, ether, encompasses by its concavity the elemental. Its substance remains quite unvaried and consists of 10 spheres, of which the greater one always spherically environs the next smaller, and so on in consecutive order. First, therefore, around the sphere of fire, God, creator of the world, placed the sphere of the moon. So what he's saying is the first thing that we consider as astrologers is the earth. It's first, because it's stationary and it's geocentric. Now he's going to explain Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and then the firmament, and then the crystalline sea, and then the primum mobile, and that is the cosmos we live in. It's not Copernican at all. It's not a demonic model. It's a God model. It's God's model. That's how God created the world. So again, first, I'll repeat that. First, therefore, first, not the sun, not heliocentric. It's not the sun that's first. First is the sphere of fire. Well, that's the earth, the sphere of fire. You know, volcanoes, magma, that's fire. God, the creator of the world, placed second the sphere of the moon, then that of Mercury, then that of Venus, then that of the sun. So clearly it's not heliocentric. Debunked already in the first paragraph. The globetards, that is. Afterwards, the sphere of Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Each of these spheres, however, contains but one star. And these stars, in passing through the zodiac, always struggle against the primum mobile, or the motion of the 10th sphere. They are also entirely luminous. So, in other words, he's just saying that the moon, the sun, all of them, they are entirely luminous. So they're not terrestrial. period. They're luminous. They're made of light, period. Each of these spheres, however, contains but one star, and these stars, in passing through the zodiac, always struggle against the primum mobile, or the motion of the 10th sphere. They are also entirely luminous. In the next place follows the firmament, which is the 8th or starry sphere, and which trembles or vibrates in two small circles at the beginning of Aries and Libra, as placed in the 9th sphere. This motion is called by astronomers the motion of the axis and recess of the fixed stars, probably in order to account for the precession of the equinoxes. This is surrounded by the 9th sphere, called the crystalline or watery heaven, because no star is discovered in it. Well, this is the watery heavens above the blue sky that we see, because the sky is watery. And it's called the crystalline sea, just as being described in this correct geocentric model. Lastly, the primum mobile, styled also the 10th sphere, encompasses all the before-mentioned ethereal spheres and is continually turned upon the poles of the world by one revolution in 24 hours, from the east through the meridian to the west, again coming round to the east. At the same time, it rolls all the inferior spheres round with it by its own force, and there is no star in it. Against this primum mobile, the motion of the other spheres, running from west through the meridian to the east, contends. Whatever is beyond this is fixed and immovable, and the professors of our orthodox faith affirm it to be the empyrean heaven which God inhabits with the elect. Well, let's describe what he's just said, shall we? First and foremostly is the geocentric flat Earth, which is here. Can you see that? Yeah, okay. Now what he's saying is that above here we have Moon, the orbit of the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, then the 8th sphere, which is the starry firmament, then the crystalline sea, which is the waters above the firmament. That's why we see a blue sky, because of the hydrogen that's up there. Then the primum mobile. Which is the first motion, the 10th sphere. This is the ninth heaven. It's a watery, and Neptune is the planet in there. We, in Western tropical astrology, geocentric, we use Pluto. Pluto is here. Pluto is the Kuiper belt. This is the Kuiper belt, the primum mobile, what they call the Kuiper belt. And it's the dome. Okay, this is the dome. It's not the same as the firmament. The firmament, which in Genesis chapter 1 is the second day of creation. So the first day of creation, God created the heaven and the earth, which is simply just a torus field, okay? Torus field goes like this. There is an hourglass in the middle. That's called the hyperboloid. And this is called the torus, the donut. This is the field. And our universe is one of these. And in the Jewish system, they teach that these 10 concentric rings, all of these rings going down from the heavens to the earth, all of them are concentric. And so we are living inside. When we stand up here on earth like this, vertically on a horizontal plane, what we look up at is we see the moon And all of these planets, which are luminous beings, according to Ptolemy, we see them above our heads. And then we see all of them, all of these 7 planets, they are actually before the firmament. So they are discs. They're not balls. Okay? They are discs, and they go across the firmament, just as the Bible describes. It says that God placed the sun and the moon and the planets and the stars in the firmament. Okay, this is a biblical word. It is also astrological, because it is the true model that we live in. And these Copernican astrologers over here that buy into these demon Jesuits, these are all Jesuits, guys. Jesuit Newton, Jesuit Galilei, Jesuit Copernicus, Jesuit Kepler. All of them, except for Tycho Brahe. Tycho Brahe, he knew that the planets are revolving around the sun, but not the earth. He placed the earth at the bottom. Tycho Brahe was not listened to. They listened to Kepler and Copernicus instead, because they were Jesuits. They had the money. They had the power and the backing behind them. So Tycho Brahe was explaining that when the sun, the 7-rayed God, Michael, the archangel, when he goes around the flat earth, all the planets are drawn by his vortex. They all orbit the sun. Our earth does not.